when we did our talent planning, so at the start of the year, we always match the current organizational goals with our departmental priorities. And then we map out the talent capabilities that we will need for us to deliver that annual KPI or KRA, right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of People Led Show, where I'm interviewing CHROs from Southeast Asia region. My name is Pawan Rochwani, and in this episode, I have the opportunity to interview Xandra, who's the current head of strategic HR talent management in Ayala Corporation. And I have enjoyed this conversation thoroughly because she's somebody who has an extensive 20-year track record. She has championed projects across Fortune 500 companies and top players in various industries. She's a transformational talent maestro, and she has been reshaping organizational culture to conquer challenges and reach ambitious goals. And somebody that I have really looked upon for understanding how the people and culture and the HR function is evolving in Philippines. I hope you all enjoy this conversation, and if there's something that you want us to implement in the upcoming ones, please feel free to drop us a comment and tell us how did you enjoy this conversation. Did you like it? What part of it did you like it? And we'll be happy to interview once again, maybe if you have missed out on asking any questions to Xandra. But feel free to drop us a comment. And this conversation was pre-recorded, so some of the context that we are speaking about might be from early this year, but I think it should be fine. Thank you so much, Sandra, for giving us your time and doing this conversation with us. I am really thrilled to have you on the show today, and I'm sure we're going to have some insightful conversations today.
Yes, thanks for having me, Pawan. Great initiative. So thank you. I'm very excited with our conversation tonight as well.
I'm glad we could host you. And Sandra, before we get into all the serious HR related conversations and all of
I
that,
hope not too serious. Okay.
I want to first know who is Sandra outside of work, because we want to start this on a light note and get to know you. And what do you do when you're not working anymore?
When I'm not working, I'm a dedicated mother of three, and I'm really balancing a lot of my responsibilities. I know that's too boring, but I'm very extreme. You can either see me really partying with friends or really just staying in the couch for the whole day, watching Netflix or reading books. So when I took this Myers-Briggs personality test, I was in the middle, right? Smack in the middle of the introvert and extrovert. So it's really just turning it on, whether I want to be with people, yes, and then So that's me outside work, and I'm very active. You can always see me either outside or again indoors, but I'm always doing something productive because for me, I feel like I don't want to waste any of my time, right? So everything is purposeful for me. Yeah,
I resonate so much with this because honestly, I have these
you're
days
awesome.
where someday I'm like an extreme extrovert,
Yeah.
people and meeting people, and then someday I'm just like an introvert where I don't need my phone or anything. I just want to be with a book
Yes.
on the couch. So,
Yes. Yeah, you can have a sense of that. And sometimes the best people to be with are the same people. You
uh,
can be together, but let's not speak for for a good moment because
yeah,
I want also some peace, right? So
yeah, yeah. Super. Okay, thanks for answering that. To begin this conversation, and for everybody who's going to listen to this, uh,
mm,
what is something that's unique about the people culture at Ayala? What is your unique approach
culture.
that you're building and following at the organization?
It's funny because I started my career, in one of the subsidiaries of Ayala. So that's like it's like a full circle. When I was really young, I started with Globe, and then I find myself right, like it's really the feeling of being home. Right. When I say being home, it's because you feel like you're in the right place with the right people. So in terms of the culture, I really can say with a lot of the companies that I work with, this is really the best, or at least one of the best. But people are really collaborative, really nice. You don't need to police them. It's there's a culture of respect, and really people here are young, but at the same time, there's a good balance. I know that we're not supposed to be talking about age, but there's really complementing with the different generations that we have. And it's really feeling this family, that you are with, the right people doing the right thing, even when no one is looking at them. That's the feeling that I have. I've been here now back in Ayala Group for 7 months. And I've been with companies that are really Fortune 500, international, global, but also at the same time local. And I find Ayala in the middle, which is really the best of both worlds, right? Because this is still a Filipino company, but at the same time, the mindset, the leaders are global in terms of their ways of working. So I really like, a good balance.
That's great to hear. And
Yeah.
I also feel that, the culture really matters. But at
Mm.
the same time, culture cannot just be by the CHRO or the CEO or
Yeah.
the HR.
Mm.
I think the people, the managers, and right till somebody who's, let's say, an intern, how they embrace the culture is also
Mm.
important. Um, so how management treats its people impacts for everybody. Do you
Mm.
agree
For
with
sure.
what are your views about how important is how management treats people for culture?
Well, first and foremost, I believe that what you said about the leaders, the managers are really the gatekeepers of culture, right? No matter what your COE or heads will tell you, it's the day-to-day experience of people that will build this what they call culture, right? So even if at the surface you do this, but when they're back at their desk or workstation, they don't feel that or they don't experience that. It's really the moments, the small moments that really matter. So I really believe that it's really the leaders or at least the function of the middle managers, the ones who first really collaborate with the employees, right? So I think I agree with that. And in terms of how the company choose to really treat people, I think the success of organization is intrinsically tied to the corporate culture because
Yeah,
it's really the blood of the organization, right? How you prioritize, the ways of working. That's culture, right? Do you want a culture of respect? Then that what's the return, right? There's always a reason for doing something, and for organization to decide to treat their people right, there's massive impact on the
yeah,
success of the organization. Because in return, they would want to really give more, do more. That is intrinsic in nature.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
And do you think that the smaller things that you do as a culture of the organization that also kind of builds a sense of community or togetherness within
Mm,
the employees? Like, do you have some small like rituals, like cultural
definitely.
rituals? What are those?
Definitely. I've been here for 7 months, but there are countless of times and opportunities that I had to spend personal time with my team members. I've seen the return that when they are close on a personal level, they carry that, at work.
Yeah,
And the collaboration is really actually better when you know someone because you empathize with them at a different level,
yeah,
right? So I think so. Aside from your functional teams, we're also encouraged here in Ayala Corporation because we have subsidiaries to also go outside and build our community of practice. And in the community of practice, it's not only about you have to deliver, you need to work, right? There are a lot of opportunities for us to have fun, again, like really just get to know each other, what's your personality, and enjoy, working together and you being very diverse
yeah.
in terms of the industries, right? Yeah.
And, I have had this a small sub question on this actually. I have had this personal challenge when I was building my own company. Although we were like a small team, but when you become sometimes too friendly, uh,
Oh, yeah.
people don't take feedback or criticism well, and somewhere that personal and professional boundaries become a little blur.
Mm.
Observe this, or you have certain, let's say, boundaries of.
Style. Yes, definitely. And I think that's one of the role of HR, right? While you want to build that culture, you still want to have like a structure. It's like freedom within a structure. Do
Hmm,
not, of course, for us, let's not separate being professional as well. Because here in Ayala, on my first day, I was already given what are my KREs, right? Or KPIs. For
yeah,
me, I need to deliver that. Now,
yeah,
I need others to deliver that. And they also champion the team KPIs, right? So, I
yeah,
mean, what I'm saying is that it's not about being over friendly, over sharing, but it's really adding value also. So there's a good balance with being professional. Um, what's your value? Because at the end of the day, we're still going to be measured about, how much we've done, the value or the impact in the organization, not only with the team, right? And individually.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
guess that's the role of HR as well. How do you create that parameters that there's still professionalism, right? And accountability.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense actually. And I'm sure everybody who's going to listen to this, they'll agree to this. Um, Thinking about something that I have had thoughts pondering, which is, in an employee, would you like rather choose somebody who's like really talented, or somebody who is great as a character, or somebody who has integrity, or do you look for a combination of all three? um,
Mm.
what really How do you identify a great talent, like who according to you is a great employee or a great team member?
I think for me, I'd choose integrity and character. Especially, I'm heading the recruitment, right? Because talent, that it's perishable for me nowadays. You mentioned earlier, in one of our informal discussion, that you actually studied a different field of
Yeah,
work, but then you ended up doing something else, right?
yeah,
But you wouldn't say you're not talented at what you do right now. May it be 10,000 hours that you need for you to be talented at something, but the point is you can hone that. But
yeah,
character and integrity, it's something that you carry wherever you are. So when you hire, your question on how do you know that someone is talented? Actually, my question circles back with when a person has an integrity to tell me that they don't know everything, but they're willing to learn. They have so much passion and drive. That for me, learning something new is a talent in itself, right?
yeah,
So it's a good combination, but of course, you always go back to let's talk about character. I can easily teach you if you have good character and drive and passion and engagement and aspiration, all of those things. It's easy with technology, right? Right now, the process, if especially if you have a culture that supports learning, like Ayala Corporation, for example, you won't need someone who's just pure talent. You also need character because you're hiring them for
yeah,
the long haul, right?
yeah, yeah. And
You mentioned, sorry, because you mentioned that you also you started your own organization, right?
yes, yes,
Did you also use the same principle? Did you hire for talent? Because in tech, it's so hard just to hire for character. You need that hard skills, right?
exactly.
How did you handle that?
Skills. And that's where the dilemma actually came from, where um you know that okay, this person is going to have a remote role only, so it's not like his physical presence in the office kind of creates a problem for our culture or things like that.
Mm,
And at the same time, you also know it's not easy to find somebody else with the same skill set at the same cost. And when it was early in the stage, it was okay to prioritize the hard skills over character, integrity, and the soft skills. But I'm sure
yeah.
you grow from, let's say, 100 to 500 employees to 1,000 employees. at that point of time, even one person can like spoil the entire culture. So I think later stage of organization, it becomes important to not ignore.
Yeah, I
um
agree.
but in the beginning, as a startup, you're just like, if you have so many problems, you have to prioritize which problems to like uh,
Yeah, I agree.
really
Yeah.
like go after. So, and most of the times the problem that was prioritized, that okay, we need to do it in a specific budget. So you have to let go of certain of your own principles.
Mm.
I think later on when we grew, that was not the case. We did prioritize integrity and character, and a culture fit,
So
um,
culture fit, yeah.
and not just the hard skills of okay, which product can you use, what can you build, which language can you code in, and all of those things. So
Mm.
definitely, like later stage, yes, align with your philosophy. um
Yeah.
Tell me about, if somebody has the character, or let's say the passion to upskill, and the passion to like learn, um
Mm.
how do you enable that? I mean, are you looking at standard ways of an L&D program or an upskilling program,
Mm.
that okay, we'll give you LinkedIn Learning subscription and go ahead, complete this course? Uh,
Mm.
because not always that works. Sometimes, like, you need a little bit of a collaborative learning experience.
Yeah.
But what are
Yeah.
your
So I used to handle learning and development. So it's actually one of my first love in HR, right? I think the very first thing that you need to do is to teach people how to learn. Because there are different ways, right? I look at it like a love language also, that you learn best when you're working with someone, when you're doing it. I'm sure HR practitioners who are listening right now, they can relate to the 70-20-10 return, that
Right.
70% will be retained if you do it like experiential. I think that's still, the same philosophy. But what I think that if I can add to that is that in the mentorship, in the coaching and mentorship, has to be inspiring in terms of learning.
Yeah,
People should be inspired to learn, right? Because that's where you can get the intrinsic drive to really learn something. And it's not only because, okay, it will give me higher salary, but it's because I really want to be good at what I do so that I can enable my organization and I can help
yep,
more.
yep.
Yeah.
And apart from upskilling and that investment, that okay, the organization wants you to upskill, I think other thing that works really well are rewards and recognition. um
Mm.
like, not always employee of the year kind of an award, but sometimes a smaller, like just from your manager. um
Yeah. Recognition, pat on the back. Yeah.
exactly, I think that kind of like works really well. uh,
Mm.
at the same time, I do understand in this past year, at least in India and in the US, um, the budget cuts and that economic downturn kind of has started. So the huge
Mm.
awards and programs that we would have probably don't exist at that scale anymore. Um, has that been a similar case with you, or like,
Mm.
what's your current like rewards and recognition at Ayala?
It's very flexible. In fact, we called it, flex ben. So definitely there's a good balance between, monetary, and then there's also a component of being flexible because some of the employees are majority, let's say, single. So it doesn't matter whether you have a good, health card for the whole family that covers XX million, because they won't be able to use that.
Yep.
So now the thing is that we balance that they can withdraw actually a good portion of the healthcare so that they can use it for traveling. And then we make it very simple, like really big amount. And then you can use it for travel. When you say travel, reimburse your hotel, your airfare, a lot of very, what do you call this, customized or very creative ways that you'd say, I've never seen something like this before. You're free to, if you want gym membership, if you have, whatever it is, but you have a good cut of the portion in terms of the rewards. Another thing that I really like with the approach of Ayala is that we do the livelihood studies. We really look at how much will this person need if he is, a father of three, for instance, with seven in the household. And that's really, if you live here in the Philippines, how much do you need? And really good grade. We have great studies that will really show that we are at par, at 10% percentile, just to really prove that we're not shortchanging our employees really with what they deserve and that they can live comfortably here in the Philippines. Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. I think that's great. I mean, not keeping it as standardized that okay,
Ah,
irrespective or
it's
single or
different. Yeah.
I think that's really great as a program, and I'm glad that you folks are doing this. Um, my next few set of questions are specific to the new technological advancements
Mhm.
that are happening in the HR function, not just within recruitment or L&D or rewards and recognition, and of course within employee experience, employee engagement. But in general, like have you already started seeing like a boom of newer products, new technologies? Of course, AI is obviously like trend,
Yeah.
the buzzword.
Mhm.
But have you already started implementing some of these?
Definitely, yes. In fact, we just opened a new department that is really for AI and data analytics, and we're the best in the Philippines, right? We're seeing a lot of that, cloud computing, AI, Gen AI, cybersecurity, data science. Those are, it's really in our purview to really look at the top skills that we need to prepare. So when we did our talent planning, so at the start of the year, we always match the current organizational goals with our departmental priorities. And then we map out the talent capabilities that we will need for us to deliver that annual KPI or KRA, right?
Hmm.
And not only that we list down the capabilities, the functional or technical capabilities that we need right now, we also include what are the fastest tech skills that we need to start learning right now. And we introduce programs already so that we're one step ahead. So even if it's something that we anticipate we will need in 5 years from now, we're starting to really learn that and really invest
Hmm.
with teaching our employees with the technical skills.
Got it. And which let's say aspect within HR are you also upskilling the people leaders to make them ready for the next set of technologies or products that are going to come in future?
Yes. So again, not only in the L&D, actually us in HR, we're also doing digital transformation with the HRIS. We're also revamping the whole, end to end with the new processes in the life cycle of our employees. But we're introducing already how technology will enable us. Let's say, we always have survey. How do we do nudges now? We have, you've heard about Chat GPT. It has there were some arguments whether it's safe, but we've really planned out how to upskill people so that we know what it is, what are the risks, and then we've trained everyone on it. We've given ample time for people to also pilot so that they're also comfortable with the new technologies, right? So we're slowly introducing that not only for HR but also for the people leaders. And these are programs that are open for everyone because it's aligned with the even at the mancom level that hey, these are the tech skills that we need to know right now. Yeah.
Got it. And I've also like seen this on your LinkedIn that as like a passion project, you have made it your mission to give it back to the HR community through
Mhm.
leadership, training, and development. How
Yes.
do you manage this outside of work? Tell us a bit like that.
Well, the seven habits, right?
Yeah.
You put your big rocks first.
Yeah.
I think it has always been one of the big rocks for me to really give back. And for me, it's a passion project that I really spend time every Saturday. I teach right now in grad school. I'll give in a year. I'll take probably two courses. That's about 4 Saturdays that I will really spend out from my family. And because that's really something personal to me, that's how they say that every role or every occupation that you have has a potential to really either be holy or create an impact to the lives of other people. And I think what's in it for me, right? For a corporate, that's how I make an impact externally and how I help other people also with their lives. Yeah. As
Right.
mushy as it is, but yes, because you really don't get anything from it, but really just the satisfaction that you're helping people, young people, inspiring them, and then yeah. So it's really part of my mission to spend time, allocate time for that.
Got it. And I know just a few minutes back we talked about what makes someone a great talent based on character integrity.
Mhm.
But what do you think, according to you, makes a great HR leader, a great people leader? What's like the anatomy or the
Of a great leader, HR leader,
yes,
for me, it's really a business partner. A lot of HR leaders are very textbook, graduates from this school, really learned about, from a lot of the principles, the frameworks, the concepts from books. But it's really about being a business partner to the organization that you're serving, right? And it's really understanding the objective and how are you partnering with the leaders to really leverage on what you know in HR so that they're able to thrive also with their roles. So I think it's really establishing that strong business acumen and a strong collaboration with the leaders that's very crucial as a great HR leader. So I don't want to be called as a fluffy HR. I want them to think that I'm also good with my numbers. I know my EBITDA, those things, because I'm a real enabler of performance at work. Yeah.
got it. Okay. I'm going to move to my last two questions. And one of them is like really light, and one of them is a little, I would say.
Okay.
So I'll put the big rock first. And I'm sure every HR leader has to, you know, communicate changes in the organization and
For
implement
sure.
that change. And quite often, changes met with resistance. Um,
Mm,
it could be, let's say, coming back to office, like the pandemic gave us a work from home culture, and later on,
mm,
if it was hybrid or work from office, it definitely has gotten certain resistance. But multiple times, a lot of changes happen in an organization, and the heat has to be faced most of the time by
mm,
the HR team.
for
How do you
sure.
survive that? How do you implement these changes so that there is less resistance? Do you have a strategy around this?
So it's good that my background in college is communication. Sadly, a lot of the technology that I learned before is obsolete right now. There's no more TV, there's no more radio, hence we have podcasts, right? But the essence of, communication, authenticity, that empathy with people is a tool for me in every change. Definitely, I always communicate that. There's a big restructuring. You're not going to be reporting to this, or you will be part of this organization. It's never easy,
Yeah,
right? But I think my strategy is I really emphasize on transparency. And really, the first is the hardest because they need to believe that it's bringing them good than bad,
mm,
with the change that you're introducing. So there's also some creativeness that you need, right? How do you create that sense of goodness in the change? And
yeah,
sometimes it's not always good, right? But how do you twist that it's more of a benefit for them?
yeah.
I think that's one of the strategy that's really hard if you're managing. Another style that I'm doing is really studying the highest impacted group or
Mm,
at least change impact, right? I'm
yeah,
also a change manager in a way that I prepare. So I don't go out there and just being optimistic and trusting all my skills in communication, but I really prepare at an individual level who here has the most resistance. group them together. What's my approach to them? It's never a one size fits all. And at the same time, who are the people who can be your supporters? How can I use them so that they help me? So all of a sudden, it's not my battle anymore. It's us now helping each other, right? So I guess there's a lot of gamuts on change management, but those two are actually mostly effective in the way that I handle resistance.
Got it. And of course, like you, whenever that change is happening within the org, you have to also create like a safe space or that environment of trust so that
Yeah.
you feel that this change is for a bigger goal rather than, something like that's very transactional and temporary. So I think that communication would definitely be of great help. Um, and sadly, coming to my last question, I'm having a great time talking to you, Sandra. But my last question is about what is something that you do as an HR leader that's unique to you and most other HR leaders don't agree with you or don't believe in this kind of, let's say, strategy or the uniqueness that you're doing?
I think it's because I'm very jolly, and I think when I was younger, I always hear that I'm too vulnerable, when I lead people. And I questioned, that strength of mine. But now I'm very confident with the things that I've achieved. I wouldn't achieve this if I did not lead with authenticity and vulnerability. So I think that's one thing. That's a powerful approach because I can foster trust, collaboration. And again, don't get me wrong, it's not being
Yeah.
unprofessional. It's still you can be vulnerable, but still be seen as credible with the character integrity and the way that you really do your work. Right. I think it's something that I'm doing differently. Maybe most of the HR leaders, because when you see HR, they always look at them, oh, you should be prim and proper, and should be not too loud, or I don't know, whatever bias that they have about HR. Oh, I will report you to HR. Don't do that. So you're always like the police, or always like, the bearer of bad news. But for me, I want to make it light. I hope everyone makes it, and you're here really to make their lives better. Right? So
Yeah.
that's my ultimate purpose in leading as an HR leader.
Super. I'm sure everybody who works in your team and like sees you
Yes.
definitely enjoy that.
Yeah.
That's something that they appreciate about you as a leader. So I'm glad that we could hear this. And thank you so much, Sandra, for taking out the time. I'm sure everybody who's going
Thank
to.
you so much also for inviting me. And I really had a great time talking to you even, before this podcast. So let's continue. Let's stay connected. I really can sense you're also a jolly person like me. So I'm sure when you're here in the Philippines, let's, let's spend time and really go out also and see how we party here.
I hope we both are extroverts on that particular day.
Yes.
Introverts.
Have you tried karaoke already here in the Philippines?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be in Feb 2nd or 3rd week. We are hosting like a small, let's say, closed door kind of a event. It's not like yet fixed. I'll let you know once like the.
Wow, thank you. Yeah.
So
Enjoy. Thank you for inviting me. This is a great, initiative. So,
Yeah.
Congrats in advance.
Okay, I'm gonna pause.
Thank you.